Welcome back to some top tier beyond all reason, with 8 of the highest level commanders in the game. The unit limit is set at 32,000. The game itself is made by volunteers. It's open source, free to play, but it'll cost you a whole chunk of your free time and probably more of your sanity. So before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button or maybe even subscribe. And we got the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 5 more. 1,025 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As the commanders laying down already their first factories. We've jammed 150 players into this map before. But just 4 is sometimes more than enough. Especially with players of this caliber. And the way the exponential scaling of the economy works in bar means sometimes other players just get in the way. But these are 8 of the top, 25 team game players in the game. So they know how to use that space, no matter how long or wide or thick the map is, how many metal extractors or how little wind. Indeed, 0 wind here on the Space Donut. But still, plenty of metal to gather. Some energy crystals as well. Early on, and of course these players know all about scaling up that economy. The very first units, the ticks, scouting out, the vision lacking in general, as they have to cover such a perimeter, but already some shurikens. Air's the choice from Magnus Carlsen in the yellow. I'm sure it's the one you're thinking of. Alongside Pro Fiddler in the red, Ion Storm in the hot pink, and Heihachi in the orange. Up against Slick Like Vic, who's got his own ticks to counter, in the teal, Greco in purple, and Darth Revan on the back line in blue. And Inda Toilet is in the south. So we'll see as they all scramble. There's going to be so much metal. There are 3 key resources in Beyond All Reason. At least ones you can keep track of. We got the stats in the top right corner as well. But there's metal, which is easily gathered by those metal extractors early, and much less easily gathered by pounding energy into metal with converters as you scale up. There's energy, which you start out with either solar or wind, but here, or tidal power, I guess, but you're quite limited. When there's no wind and no water, that solar power is going to be the only way until you get to fusion reactors. And then there's build power. The ability to take those resources and jam them together into whatever you want to build. And whether or not it's what your teammates want you to build, that's not important. You do you, boo. Unless you're on my team, in which case, please stop. But the access and the placement of all 3 of those things is absolutely critical at every level of the game. And these players should be demonstrating a command over it and commanders over it. Better than any others. The lines so far are drawn. Trying to snipe. There are some metal extractors on the asteroids. And without any air, there's going to be no way to challenge it early. I think I'm 1v1, says Fiddler. Yeah, Darth Revan and Magnus Carlsen both kind of macroing in the back. Usually maps that are more open, less squeezed, technical term, like this Space Donut here. The literal name, Project SD, is Project Space Donut. Ooh. Already the first early brawl. Pawns versus Grunts. The Grunts from the Cortex have a little more range, but the Pawns have more DPS with their machine guns on the Armada. But the Shurikens turn the tide. The EMP stunning the Pawns for long enough for the Grunts to get some damage done. But there's not quite enough of them. A very good trade. Shurikens, one of the best kind of precision defense units. Or offense. Because that's the best defense, right? Meanwhile, the rocket brawls. Every bomb, every bullet, every laser, every projectile that is hurled at one another, sometimes including the angry words, has limited accuracy. Depending on the speed, the size, the trajectory, other geometrical terms. So you're not guaranteed to hit any sort of shot. Lasers drop off with range. And that's why the rocket bots are very good for pushing forward, but the thugs are doing a little more as they're able to target them. The ticks are swarming against each other to the north, as Ayaji and Slick like Vic are trying to put together the battle lines to the north. But so far, it looks like Vic's ticks are making sure Hayashi feels licked. Yeah, ick. Meanwhile, the thugs are marching forward. The rocket bots not able to get enough damage in time. And when the thugs land their shots, the punishment is felt immediately. Even using some res bots, you can see the units that were resurrected. Oh, but the ticks are undercutting. Now, just looking both sides, their backline players trying to snipe as many metal extractors as possible. Ion Storm is going very deep, but he might be digging too greedily now as the rockets are flung out. And even with the disintegration gun as an option, you need the energy to fire it off. It one-shots every unit in the game if you get close enough. But it costs 500 energy, and it costs your commander being potentially within range. The ticks have passed by the front line. Pings coming out. Oh god, that's not what you want to hear from the person who is supposed to be holding this. And there's little to no defense. On the back, the metal extractors are made out of paper mache and tears, but he self-detonates one of them in order to take out some of the ticks. Ion Storm is taken down. The commander is knocked out. He went far too deep, and now Vic is coming down from the north. He managed to carve out some extra space. What's happening to the south? The construction bots are... What are you doing, Fiddler? Hello? The grunts are watching as the construction bot gets murdered by the pawns. Clearly distracted, but as the lines... No, wait, the thugs are marching back. A few hounds. Tier 2 is already on the field 7 minutes in, which is obscenely quick until you consider the ridiculous amount of economy both sides have. This map is usually designed for 8v8 or more players, but it has taken less than 10 minutes for these incredibly experienced commanders to overtake the entire map in effectively every metal extractor that isn't being actively contested. So, fighters coming across, just cutting across the donut. The aircraft are also spacecraft here in Beyond All Reason. Maybe there's some limiting factors on that, but able to cross relatively easily if there are no fighters to contest them, obviously. Now, the metal on the ground, a commander worth 1,250. So that is the biggest boon you could possibly get in the early game, is being able to take out your opponent's commander and it not costing you your entire army. But if your own commander, he just de-guns the commander and now he's going for the trade. Greco says, well, I can't go back, so I guess I'll go forward. And he wipes out the thugs with it. Makes a snap decision. And he used the disintegration gun to take out the wreckage. But he can't disintegrate himself. Well, technically you can with self-destruct, but that's not important. So, Greco is handed another commander. Vic just shares his commander with Greco in order to continue pushing forward. As it looks like he's comfortable getting that very early tier 2. I'm not sure if he was just handed it from Darth Revan, who's already building a fusion reactor at the very back. Trying to support the front line, and so far I think doing so quite successfully. Green and Red Fiddler and In the Toilet have... how did Teal get T2 so quick and kill me? Ion Storm, we both know you were killed mostly by the rocket bots. I don't know, maybe the Hounds came down. They were released early. The Hounds, the early Tier 2 Armada skirmish bot, which pops some plasma projectiles and is faster than almost every Tier 1 unit. But not so much so that... Oh, this is going to get dicey. The grunts are swarming, spread out to minimize the potential splash. And he really can't lose that Tier 2 lab. A welder comes out of the lab. The grunts are overwhelming it, whipping out the D-guns on every side. But the commander itself at half HP. The welder holding the line. And a good defense. Is it good enough? We still see to the south the macro players putting everything together. They're mostly focused on the economy, but occasional support. Especially with air units early. The grunt's trying to sneak through. A single brave grunt has made it all the way through and could potentially damage the economy. Is going to undercut some of the metal extractors. Ion Storm still microing. Your commander going down is not that important. The last commander on your team going down is the most important. Until then, it's just a resource to be utilized. So, the air war has heated up somewhat. as both Magnus Carlsen and Darth Revan starting to challenge each other for the contested asteroids in the center of the map. Do they actually have... I don't think they have significantly more metal. They just are free for whoever takes air control. But the welders with their chain lightning able to take out swaths of tier 1 units almost in a single shot. And now the tier 1 battle continues. A Quaker, the tier 2 mobile artillery. Wait, is that tier 2? Yes. Pushing forward. So with vehicles, especially vehicle-based artillery, you got to keep it firing in the right direction. And turning those things around means you can't fire at all. But as long as you keep the momentum, he's got the thugs and the pounders in front. Hounds being used as such a maneuverable option for players who could actually keep track of them. But I was going to explain that top... Oh, what are those bed bugs, amphibious crawling bombs, dodging all the shots and trying to get close. And they still haven't managed. I don't know if they're waiting to potentially resurrect the commanders. But the standoff continues. So far, you can see in the top right, metal per second, energy per second, build power. And then more meaningfully, metal produced and energy produced overall, especially metal. Tells you how much they produce throughout the game, and generally the lead. The army value, the defense value, the economy value, and the total damage. But again, all that matters is having that last commander. And right now, it's 3-3. Though, I think we're pretty far from any other sort of conclusion. Nobody's sacrificing their commander for extra economy early, not in a match like this. The economy coming together. We have 3 basic fusion reactors, which were recently changed. I'm not going to say buffed or nerfed, but changed to cost less and be more of a transition economy. They now give less energy than they did, but also cost significantly less as well. Still making them a much higher tier than like a solar panel, but not comparable with the advanced fusion reactor. The pounders trying to deal with the welders, but the welders are just melting through. The grunts now swinging down, but a little bit late. Eventually, and even self-destructing, not enough. A self-destruct usually gives you a bigger explosion radius. But whoa! Help! In the toilet just flinging out D-guns. I don't even know if there was a unit there. The slow-moving push. I just kind of wrote it off. But, writing help seems more relevant. A Banisher. Is that a Banisher? Yes, the heavy missile tank on the back line with the Quakers pounding through. And right now, vision. It's not such a huge issue, but here come the fighters. Reinforcements are on the way for both sides. The Shurikens on the back line. There's very limited anti-air. Needs the fighters out of Magnus Carlsen. Exchanging above. A few Wasp gunships mixed in. And it looks like Darth Revan has enough to contest the air control. And the Wasps are enough to drive back the ground army. For now. I mean, in fact, not just for now. Doing a lot of damage and taking out the majority. And leaving so much wreckage on the ground to reclaim or even resurrect. I feel like resurrecting might be the play. Because now, another small but huge change in the newest patch, or the newest season, is units maintain their veterancy when they're resurrected. Units gain veterancy, which usually means just gaining HP when they do damage. Not when they get kills, but when they do damage. That's how a tick can get ranked up so high, as long as it's left unchecked. But, so, that puts extra value in resurrecting wreckage, as opposed to just reclaiming it. Reclaiming it is much quicker, but, and it gives you that instant metal drop, but using energy to turn another unit back into yours is potentially more valuable if you have the time and the opportunity to do so. So overall, the numbers say blue. All right? The numbers are colors now. Don't worry, just try to follow along. But the north is tenuous, and now some Sheldons are moving forward. They got a jammer. The struggle is actually maintaining vision, as well as radar. Right now, there's a radar jammer, which means he knows the Sheldons are there, but he has nothing to challenge them. Greco just going to move the grunts forward. The Sheldons fear confrontation, like so many gamers, and actually would struggle to engage even grunts on the open field. That's why I usually cover them with other units. But looking at the big picture, we have, and you can see the individual energy over on the side. Darth Revan at 7.27 thousand. Nothing, which is more, I think, than the entirety of the red team combined. So, that is not a good sign. Meanwhile, an experimental gantry with access to Armada Tier 3 units. If you watch some of the massive, huge, ginormous games on this map, then you'll see a lot of Cortex Tier 3, which is known for being large and in charge. But we've had enough references to your mother for today. We need something a bit more agile, a bit more maneuverable. So that is where the Armada Tier 3 comes in. Unironically, it has a lot of options that are just significantly better versions of something you can get on Tier 2, as opposed to, here, big unit. Of course, things like Shivas and catapults have that role for Cortex Tier 3, but the Armada Tier 3 at the higher level, with more space to work with and more FPS that you don't see in those massive scale games, the Armada Tier 3 is usually the first choice. But the economic situation is dire, even if the red team doesn't know it. This could get interesting, says a spectator, because that is quite a swarm. He's making a Vanguard plasma cannon, and the moment it comes out, it's going to fire off a shot, high trajectory volley. But actually using the repeat command and the ticks, that shot fires way short as the sharpshooters go forward. The sharpshooters are able to blast from long range and easily pick apart those strong units. And Greco is surrounded by the ticks. 8%. And it's enough. The ticks overrun. The gantry is vulnerable. The sharpshooters at point blank range. The Razorback is 90% complete. But the gantry is 100% dead. And that is a huge blow to the blue team. A massive chunk of their metal just exploderated to the north side. And all before Darth Revan could do anything about it. He has some gunships, or he had some gunships, I'm not sure where they went, was supporting the south, but Hayashi is now moving forward. He's going to be able to reclaim or resurrect. We'll see which one it ends up being. I think resurrecting at this stage is a high priority. The exchanges continue. Multiple artillery batteries are holding everything down. And still, there's a commander that could potentially be reclaimed. But the push by Orange all the way through the ticks. Some gunships now coming out the Wasp trying to sting their way out of this situation. Greco is moving back with some of his Tiger tanks. That Tier 2 from the core. Oh, sorry, Salamanders and Tiger tanks. In order to stem the bleeding here. But that is going. Well, how did you get a tremor on the high? What are you doing up there? Why not? Well, that's one of the best places for your rapid-fire plasma battery to be. The push will be stopped with the combined efforts of the gunships of Darth Revan and the Tier 2 vehicles out of Greco. It looks like Teal has also dropped out of the game, but considering he lost his entire economy and almost all his units, left him without a lot of means or motivation to continue. And Hayashi is slurping up that metal. Those res bots just picking apart the wreckage of the fusions, as well as the experimental gantry. And that's a huge metal drop right now for the red team, when they desperately needed it. The economy was in dire straits, and still over double the energy for blue. And, you know, wait, whoa.
So it begins.
What? 2 down. He just gives it up. Darth Revan has taken control of In the Toilet, and maybe he'll be the one who ends up getting flushed. The tremor is blasting apart from above the hill, but Darth Revan has managed the economy incredibly well for the blue team. The blue team has not done as well for him. Magnus Carlsen. So, Darth Revan still effectively 1.2 v4. It's not. So, I think I need to stress, this could be a great demonstration of why having less players is sometimes more. Darth Revan, as one of the top 10 team game players in the game, certainly knows how to utilize this. He has the power grid coming together, advanced fusion reactors, literally multiple bot labs swarming grunts across the field. And the reason you're using that many is because the limiting factor right now is how long it takes the grunts to walk off the pad so you can start a new one. It isn't that he doesn't have the resources, it's that he doesn't have the physical space as the grunts are swarming the field, starting to overrun the battle lines. But there's enough static defenses to stall them for now. But Darth Revan... Wait, did he just... No. I thought Greco handed him in, but the gunship's down the center. Fiddler trying to hold, but the forces of Revan might be enough to break through. He's got a dozen sharpshooters with their long-range blaster rifles. He's got grunts and ticks and welders. All sorts of a mixed bag of units. Great for drawing fire and dealing out the punishment. Darth Revan clearly, I doubt this is the first time he's been in this sort of scenario. And even some grunts to the north, putting the team on his back. And pretty soon it will just be his back at this rate. Well, stuffed for now. The vehicle's enough. The sharpshooters, everything in front of them pretty much was taken out. But he's able to retreat with the valuable sharpshooters. The red team only has a marginal army value advantage. And it's still and Shivas, the tier 3 Cortex battle mechs, on their way. Very mediocre against air, but quite cost-effective against almost everything else. And we see swarming the field. Of the units on the map right now, there are 1,700. Darth Revan has 800 of them. Nearly half. Of course, while quantity has a quality of its own. Is it enough? It's up to the red team to find the weak point. There's a very clear weak point. If a single one of these fusion reactors gets a bit too spicy, the entire county will be going up, and the chances of winning will drastically go down. Magnus putting together economy back at home. They may be underestimating the sheer scale of Revan's technological progress. The Razorbacks, though, moving forward. Greco doing his best to become that porcupine player with the difficult to dismantle tower defense strategy, while Revan... There is a jammer bot protecting this commander that is cloaked from a jammer bot literally hanging off the ends of the earth and protecting the commander from being detected even by radar. Meanwhile, Revan, I'm just gonna go, let's see if we can do the, here you go, the Revan cam.
Tier 3 unit ready.
The grunts overrunning.
They've got at least one tier 3 unit.
And, he actually...
It's a play.
We're gonna get...
Aircraft spotted.
We got all the notifications going off. Of course, you can get whichever announcer you'd like by going to the notifications tab as part of the game. But it's because we haven't played them yet. We just went to the camera that they're all playing now. But how does Revan control all this? Pulling back, retargeting, almost a perfect... It's not quite, but it's almost top-down view. Redirecting has multiple production bases. Putting together more defenses. Managing both Cortex and Armada simultaneously. I believe he was Cortex to start. His first commander was Cortex. But players of this caliber know how to use both factions to dramatic effect. Managing the economy. Microing the construction turrets to maximize the fusion reactors, while queuing up units in order to draw out the fire and keep the defenses under control. Another push. And meanwhile, the push to the north, going well enough. Just arcs out with a wave of units using that drag formation, which of course the game is more advanced than any other RTS I've ever seen by a huge margin when it comes to these controls. Now selecting to the north. A lot of micro and macro, but there's just too much. Going to have to pull back. The pulsars around the corner. Look at that little wall off he did. In order to stagger. Wait, did that work? It forced everything like a wave. All the smaller units ended up pathing through the barricades there, which aren't a hard wall, but just a filter to control the amount of units coming through. Meanwhile, the fighters are almost blocking the view. He's building up hundreds of fighters, almost blocking the view of what he's building back at home, but I'm sure they barely even register. And the hardest part isn't building all this. It's building all this and not over or under taxing your economy. That is by far the most difficult part of Beyond All Reason at this scale. He's got 55,000 energy per second. He's got 850 metal per second. And he's managing to keep it right at a few thousand. So he's not producing too much nor too little. Just right. Which is immensely hard to do and exponentially more so as time goes on. It's very easy to spend too much. And it's also quite easy to spend too little. But keeping it at this perfect balance while also doing anything else, I cannot stress how difficult that is. As he's managing also the units themselves. The streams of grunts headed out of the factories at home. There's an anti-nuke launcher right in the midst of there, in case you're wondering. Nukes at this level are a Hail Mary or the extreme supreme late game, as opposed to anything else. Not sure what he's trying to manage here, but... Alright, back to the everyone cam. We see... Magnus trying to catch up economically, but it's that exponential curve again that Darth Revan had such a jump on. And now that he's gotten tier 3 units, and how many fighters is that? Well, on both sides right now, there's 420. A high number of these fighters in the sky. The Nighthawks for the Cortex. I'm not sure if the Cortex or Armada tier 2 fighters are better, though they slice each other out of the sky. Really, whichever one you could get more easily. Ion Storm is back! But is the target fire there from Greco? He's trying to pull back with all these banishers. Oh, the Vanguard shots. Does he see it? Oh, it just incidentally, a missile just hit him in the midst of everything. Meanwhile, the streams of grunts just continuing through, filtering through the wall off. Meanwhile, Fiddler. EMP missile launchers from Revan. But the sheer mass of units on either side. And the 3 tremors just blasting into that general area. Thinning out all the units. And here comes quite a push. We've got multiple tanks. The grunts running back, actually retreating to a more defensible location. The commander's right there, which is a little dicey. I don't know how many more commanders are left. The sharpshooters trying to take a bite out of the grunts, but it's like chewing out a hurricane. There's so many. The grunts getting into melee range. Get me closer so I can hit them with my arms. But the commander will escape. He's controlling 2 of them at once. Oh my god, that's Jason Bourne. He's trying to sneak in, and if he can get to the fusion reactors, he's gotten closer. The jammer has not. He's still... Wait, is he not detected there? How? Meanwhile, Fiddler's pushing back. Revan no longer has that massive economic lead. Oh! The behemoth has arrived. They didn't tell me your mother was coming. The biggest unit in the game, the most HP, but still can die to a single disintegration gun. Is there any vision of this? The commander! I think radar is blocked by the terrain here. But can the commander make it all the way? I mean, if the fusion reactors go, so does the team. That's immediate, pretty much immediate GG. The thing is, the red team only has so many commanders as well. Is it 2? Is the count 2? It's 3. Where's the... Oh, Magnus still has his commanders at the back. And now has focused all of his efforts into building that economy. Still, though, the army's coming together. The rovers, the rascals out in front to draw fire from the static defense and the sharpshooters, trying to draw friendly fire and successfully doing so. But the pulsar's lancing through, and a wave of drunks and grunts taken out with each one. To the north, Tier 3 is exchanging fire. An awkward position. Greco's still very technically in the game. The tremors are making sure this entire area is incredibly uncomfortable. Make decoy comms. Give them targets to commit to. Hayashi. And we're just gonna... I mean, he's still there. He's survived. Nobody's noticed him. Air units can't get close enough to reveal the commander. Oh my. The biggest bombing run. Literally 6 aircraft plants spamming whirlwinds. There are currently 200 bombers and counting. How many fighters does he have above right now? He has 350 fighters for cover. Over 200 bombers. He's going to go directly for the heart of the economy. But does the red team have enough? There is a wall of fighters in the sky, and they can easily intercept the bombers. He has to know. Wait, how much vision have they had? They haven't seen anything. They have an idea. I mean, you could take an educated guess, but with bombing runs, you don't usually get a second pass at this stage of the game. And he's using Tier 1 bombers because it's more about quantity than it is about quality. Tier 2 bombers also get cut out of the sky by fighters and are much more difficult to create en masse. Fiddler getting a lot done. How many? There, here, 220 bombers being sent. A wave across the map. This is the gamble. The fighters. I'm sure there will be pings very soon. The bombers cutting their way across. The fighters will be engaging anti-air. I hear 17 different pings, but here they go. The bombing run swinging through the no man's land. The fighters engaging, and he's gonna pull back, swing around. Are there enough fighters to actually break through, though? The bombers themselves getting... is he turning around? He's trying to evade the fighters. Continually... And the fighters have been thinned out enough. Oh, he's got an opportunity. Oh, God, says Hayashi. And he's actually swinging back and forth, avoiding the masses of fighters. And he's actually cut through. Oh, no! The first run, and there go the fusions. But those aren't the advanced fusions on the back line. The bombers are swinging around. He spots them. Another wave. This is the big one. He needs this shot. The flak batteries. It's so close. And the bombers... Some of them will crash into the construction turrets, which will actually take out all the construction turrets, which is a consolation prize, but certainly not the prize he wanted. You'd rather the bombs themselves make the difference, but the behemoth now here to match the units on the ground. But they're clustering together. Darth Revan a little distracted for the moment. I think the behemoth was spotted. And now the Tier 3 pushing forward. Greco has managed to hold just a massive thorn in the side, making it almost impossible. And still, the Razorbacks eventually making their way through the bulwarks, but an aptly named defense. The Shivas are coming down, swinging into the Tier 3. The position, like, this is about as entrenched as you could possibly get on the economy he's been working with, which is almost nothing at this stage compared to everyone else. But He was so close. But now the red team, for the first time in this game, has taken the energy lead. And with literally several hundred bombers being knocked out of the sky, the momentum has shifted. But that doesn't mean that he can't find another opportunity, another wave. The fighter wall was not rebuilt. He goes for another bombing run. Decoy commanders, wow. Decoy commanders all over the place. A small expense, but probably extra valuable in this exact scenario. The bombers coming in. A run on the back line, looking for the fusions, and if they get it, it should be the gantry. It's so close! But the tier 1 bombers don't get quite enough damage, and again, shot down. Meanwhile, the red-blue lines holding the behemoth on the back for Darth Revan, but Fiddler breaking through. The Shivas, the grunts going face first. The Shiva count is so damn high. Hayashi still. Somehow the jammer made it here. The commander just dancing in the corner. And throughout all this, Darth Revan has still been producing more economy. Last we stared at his base, he was at 55,000 energy. He's at 85 now. He has not slowed down. At least, it's no longer exponential. It's more linear at this stage. One fusion at a time, but 1,200 metal per second. But Magnus is catching up. The economy is more decentralized. The behemoth is leading the charge. There's a single commander over here. The commander is really the best defense. The Razorbacks are moving through. Some wasps looking to intercept. Metal extractors will be taken out, which is painful, though at this stage, the majority of income is coming from those metal extractors. The behemoth push simultaneously. The behemoth, after all this punishment, is now lost 10%. Oh, but the commander drop! Right on the front line of the D-gun! The behemoth crumbles! Fiddler takes it down by the knees, and the disintegration gun is enough to completely take this push. Oh, the Achilles heel. The commander drop. Make pulsar walls, everyone. Maybe the only other way to deal with it. Sending your commander in is quite a risky endeavor, as they only have 3 of them left. I know they started with 4. It still feels like only 3 is a very small number in this sort of stage. But slowly and surely, the red team, if that bombing run had hit the fusions, we could very well have been looking at a 1v4 victory. Okay, sorry, Greco, but Greco did his part, but he's dead, and he's gone, and I didn't even realize. The commander, still in the corner, the jammer there as well. The jammer could be spotted visually a lot easier than the commander. It might be suspicious, but there's almost no ground. If he gets there. A commander to deal with the behemoths. The wall of Darth Revan still continuing. Hundreds, thousands of units. He's at 1,800 units. Has he built up another bomber wave? Doesn't look like it. Instead, investing more in the ground assault. Titans versus behemoths. The behemoth with a mini D-gun itself just blasts through everything. Easily takes out just waves of tier 1 units. Unfortunately, some grunts are breaking through. The Shiva, the Juggernaut push. A Juggernaut, a walking nuke. It also has weapons, but if it gets close enough, the explosion. The blob of Darth Revan's units spreading him out now. Did he find it? The fact that he could... Wait, does he have vision, is the question. He can't see much. Occasionally, he can catch a glimpse of some of the aircraft. But mostly... Oh, he may have spotted the bombers! Did he? Honestly, this commander behind enemy lines. He needs to ping that now. Here comes another bomber wave. The potentially last gambit. He's lost the economic lead. Oh, the pings! The giveaway! And the fighters are moving into position to intercept. The commander, it might not make it all the way to the back line, but it is there in time to allow the fighters to intercept the bombers. And they will engage. The bombers, though, along the outside, letting the fighters cut through the front. Swinging back in, looking for that fusion reactor that evaded them before. And these are tier 2. The hailstorms. They bring the rain. And down goes the front. A costly exchange. Almost every single one of what was probably 1 to 200 bombers will go down. A juggernaut on the front line. The grunts. Moving in. Welders as well. There's not that much to deal with the juggernaut directly. Well, the sharpshooters targeting it. The pulsars as well. But Darth Revan. The commander. The commander behind enemy lines. So far, pretty much the saving grace for the red team. Saved much more potential damage. 112,000 energy. And still, he's got another 20 fusion reactors queued up. The power grid is comprehensive. As Darth Revan tries to assert himself over the field. Unfortunately, the field is thinning. The donut is being sliced in less and less favorable ways. The factories at the front trying to produce the grunts, but the economy is not quite there to do so. Multiple, was that a tactical nuke? Some tactical nuke launchers which cannot be countered except by taking out the launcher. It's like making it to the front line. More bombers. There is a wall of behemoths to the north, which is almost impossible to stop without commanders. The pulsars will attempt to do so. I don't know how many Titan shots it'll take, but this is the weakest point for Darth Revan to the south. As the juggernauts and behemoths of their own. Junos to wipe out the radar. The juggernauts helping to punch through the lines. Jammers covering for everything. But they're getting physically close enough. That's the benefit of the behemoth. Good luck stopping it. Oh, he's moving. He's moving! Though, again, I'm not sure if it's worth the risk of getting close on such valuable intel. The behemoth with only 250,000 HP left. For reference, a commander has about 3,000 to 4,000, depending on a few factors, but the behemoth surrounded. The grunts have been rallying, hundreds of them per minute. But the juggernauts at the back, 2 more behemoths, the tier 3 Cortex. I talked about how Armada had the more finesse-oriented tier 3. Well, the time for finesse has ended. Brute force is where it's at. Darth Revan moving forward. The D-gun knocks it out. The juggernauts will retarget, but he retreats in time and reactivates the cloak. And the juggernauts targeting the ground in that location, but they can't see it. And the jammers, and there's no visual contact, which means a good D-gun there. The pulsars ping cushioning the juggernauts, which are remarkable. Oh my god. I can't believe he's done it. Ah, he's stutter stepping. He's in radar range. How has he done it? Oh, he's made the journey all the way to Mount Doom. And now he'll cast the game into nuclear fire. How has this happened? There's no way Darth Revan, it's just a radar. There's a single orange dot. There are literally hundreds of thousands of units. Okay, not literally hundreds. There are thousands of, oh no. Oh my god. And in the fires of Mount Doom. How has it come to this? Oh my god. The D-gun. And the reactors. Oh! And just like that, Sauron was cast down. Half of the economy gone. The fighters were going to take advantage. The commander died with it, of course. He sacrificed himself. He made it all the way through. The fighters will engage, and now Darth Revan is down to just 85,000 energy, putting him still at #1 in the game. But not by the margins he enjoyed. The production, so many of the construction turrets. And the crazy thing is, they still haven't seen the scale. They don't know about the other fusions. Hayashi's saying, wait a second, I think there's more. And somehow Darth Revan, crippled, relatively, is holding. And one last foray, and once more into the breach. He will rage against the dying of the fight. The fighter's getting knocked down. There should be enough anti-air. He's forced to redirect for an easier target, which is not ideal at this stage. The bombers being cut down. Almost none of them, if not none, able to unleash their payload. The behemoths. Revan has destroyed 4,000 units. He's produced 10,000 and lost almost all of them. The wall of behemoths moving forward. He's not willing to give it up yet. He technically still has plenty of energy. This is more energy than entire teams get in many games. No matter how large the team is, it doesn't matter. I've seen 50 versus 50 games with less economy than Revan still has. And the willingness to keep fighting. But the behemoths physically blocking each other, the wreckage of past behemoths, is still enough. As now, unfortunately, the crater where the economy once stood, the commander a testament to it. The juggernauts retreating from the sheer girth of the behemoths. Though they can't outrange them, and they are marginally quicker. There is just one commander left, so Revan can't even really afford to go for the D-gun. There is an entire... there is an entire perimeter. There are 93 flak trucks. The Furies lining the edges, as well as 24 Screamer long-range anti-air towers. And how many flak cannons? I believe the trucks are significantly more effective, but we got 42 flak cannons scattered throughout. The juggernauts, everything splitting. They know there's one commander left. The grunt's getting caught. Revan with only 1,000 units now. The behemoths trying to hold, but the grunts easily outmaneuvering them. 600 grunts on the map. Another juggernaut goes down to the behemoths. But the production is under fire. The bulwarks slicing through the grunts. Might be able to slow down the first push, but the juggernauts are coming. The behemoths are holding the line to the north. This battle honestly may not reach a conclusion, as everything has so much HP. Without a D-gun, it's almost impossible for them to take one another out. It'll take several minutes of concentrated fire. The behemoths just wail it on one another. And some people would pay good money for that, but right now Revan has money, but with the loss of all the construction turrets. Wow, Magnus is at unit cap? Ah, because he still has so many teammates. His unit cap is 2,000. So he just shared a ton of his units to his teammates, so that way they could be distributed more evenly. Fiddler is now at 2,000 out of 2,000 units. So I guess the total cap was more like 16,000 in this game. That's usually what the high-level players have it set at, just to make it less obscenely laggy in many cases. Revan has the entire cap of his team, potentially. Unfortunately, with the limited production he's left with. He's rebuilding the power grid. I don't think he said anything. Despite the clear, the drama. And honestly, I'm almost upset. The drama of what happened. With the commander sneaking behind enemy lines and completely crippling the economy, relatively. I'm almost mad it did, because I wanted to see what he could do with the full power of 150k plus energy he was holding. Though I think the red team would have and could have pushed back eventually. As past the first bombing run, it was hard to make any progress, but the army value in the hundreds of thousands of metal. 640,000 metal for the red team in army value. Economy value, 1.6 million metal. The behemoths finally getting chased down by juggernauts and their stepbrother, the Titan. Juggernauts and behemoths, the grunts stuck underneath. At this point, Revan, it's just a challenge to see how long he can survive. Technically, there's only 2 commanders left. Another juggernaut goes down. But the fighters out in front. And the economy for Magnus. The grid extends over the horizon. And unfortunately, there's no way Revan can sneak a commander to the back lines. The field of construction turrets and converters and advanced fusion reactors. The fighters just trying to thin one another out. Possibly just trying to free up units. The tier 3 wall to the north continues to hold, but he just doesn't have quite enough on both sides. And the behemoths will make their way forward. And the thing is, they made so many decoy commanders, the chances of sniping those last 2, improbable. But Revan showing what you can do with such a... both the means and the motivation. Grabbing about half of the entire map. And squeezing it for all it's worth. But so tightly, a single commander slipped through. And while he was focused on the massive battles on either side, one commander was all it took to bring it all tumbling down. The bombers, a few bombers from Revan, the fighters engaging, slicing one another out of the sky. But the bombing run, covering the entire screen. There go the converters. Some advanced fusions, the juggernauts, and the last stack of fusion reactors. And there it goes. Darth Revan types GG, self-destruct, and the red team, with all hands on deck, achieves victory. Bring me back to that. We see the metal used, the energy used. In total, 5.28 million damage done by Darth Revan, compared to 500k by the rest of the team. Greco with an honorable mention. In the toilet and Slick Like Vic with a dishonorable mention. Magnus, the bread basket, or energy basket of the team, holding it together. But Revan clearly understanding the exponential curve of the economy and beyond all reason. The ability of using energy to make metal, to make more energy, to make more metal. But not only that, but also fight on 2 fronts, arguably 3 simultaneously. A 4-dimensional player. Unfortunately, he just didn't have enough time. Or maybe too much. That first bombing run so close. Even the bombers themselves crashing. Nearly overran. But the red team holds it together. Just barely. Hayashi with the biggest gamble. Summoning circle of behemoths. They've got the idealized production. Wow, what a game. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you to the players for recommending. I've been asking some of the top-level players to recommend me some games of more manageable team sizes, showing you that even though there are only 8 players, still can have arguably an even more dramatic battle on the same sort of maps. And thank you for making it to the end. If you got the means of motivation, be also check out Patreon or YouTube membership, but I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So, and check out this video Jimmy picked out just for you, and I hope I made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay unreasonable.